You stole my life, I shouted into the microphone, my voice echoing through the packed auditorium. 500 people gasped in unison. Security guards froze halfway up the stairs. And there was Marcus, my childhood friend standing paralyzed behind the podium, his face draining of color as I held up the one thing that would destroy everything he had built on my stolen dreams. I never thought I'd become that person, the one who crashes a corporate event seeking justice. But when you watch someone you trusted since kindergarten steal the idea that could have changed your life, something breaks inside you. My name is Daniel Reynolds. 6 months ago, I was just an ordinary software engineer with an extraordinary idea. Today, I'm the guy who brought down Horizon Tech's $1 million launch event. It all started on a Tuesday night. I remember because Tuesdays were always our meetup nights. Marcus Chen and I had been friends since we were 5 years old, building Lego cities together and dreaming of changing the world. 30 years later, we still kept the tradition alive, meeting at O'Malley's pub every Tuesday to catch up. Another round? Marcus asked, signaling the bartender. I'm good. I couldn't contain my excitement any longer. Actually, I want to show you something. I pulled out my notebook, an actual paper notebook in this digital age. Old school, but I never trusted cloud storage for my best ideas. I flipped to the diagram I'd been perfecting for months. Remember how my mom struggled with her medication schedule after her stroke? I asked. Marcus nodded. He'd been there through that whole ordeal. Well, I've designed something that could help millions like her. I pushed the notebook toward him. I'm calling it MedMinder. The design was elegant in its simplicity, a smart pill dispenser with an integrated AI system that could learn user patterns, send customized reminders, and alert caregivers if doses were missed. What made it revolutionary was the adaptive learning algorithm I'd developed that could predict and prevent medication errors before they happened. Marcus studied the pages, his eyes widening. This is incredible, Dan. The market for this would be massive. I know. I couldn't hide my pride. I've been working on the prototype in my garage. The algorithm is nearly perfected. How far are you from patenting this? He asked, still flipping through my detailed notes. That's actually why I wanted to talk. I need some advice on navigating the patent process. Your company has filed dozens, right? Marcus was the CEO of a small but successful tech firm that developed healthcare management software. Nothing groundbreaking, but stable. He'd always been the business-savvy one between us. I could help you with that, he said, closing my notebook. Actually, we should discuss how to get this funded properly. This could be huge. We talked for hours that night. Marcus offered to connect me with some investors he knew. He even suggested we could potentially partner on bringing it to market. I left feeling lighter than I had in years. Finally, my big break was coming. 3 weeks passed. Marcus stopped responding to my texts about meeting those investors. Our Tuesday meetups were suddenly canceled due to emergency business trips. I figured he was busy. I trusted him completely. Then came the morning that shattered everything. I was scrolling through my tech newsfeed when I saw it. The headline punched me in the gut. Horizon Tech announces revolutionary smart medication management system. Horizon Tech was Marcus's company. The article featured a sleek device that looked eerily familiar. As I read the description, my hands began to shake. It was MedMinder, my MedMinder, down to the adaptive learning algorithm I'd spent 2 years perfecting. Except they were calling it MediTrack. I called Marcus immediately, straight to voicemail. I emailed him. No response. I drove to his office only to be told by the receptionist that he was unavailable indefinitely. That night, I received a formal invitation to Horizon Tech's product launch event for MediTrack. Not a personal invitation, a mass email sent to everyone in the healthcare technology sector, as if I were just another industry observer, as if he hadn't stolen my life's work. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. All I could do was watch as press releases rolled out, each one describing my innovation as Marcus's brainchild. The launch event was scheduled for May 15th, just 3 weeks away. They were moving fast. I consulted a patent attorney, but the news was devastating. I'm sorry, Mr. Reynolds, but without documented proof of your idea predating their patent filing, it's your word against theirs, she explained gently. And they filed 2 months ago. But I have my notebook, I protested. Handwritten notes without witnesses or timestamps aren't strong evidence. Did you email yourself the designs? Upload them anywhere with a digital timestamp? I hadn't. My paranoia about idea theft had ironically made me vulnerable to exactly that. What if I had a witness, someone who saw my designs before they filed? The attorney looked skeptical. Do you? The only person who had seen my complete designs was Marcus himself. I sank into a depression so deep I barely left my apartment. My mother called daily, worried about my sudden silence. I couldn't bring myself to tell her that the invention I'd created to help people like her had been stolen from under me. 2 weeks before the launch, I received another email from Horizon Tech. They were looking for beta testers for MediTrack. Desperate and out of options, I applied under a fake name and was accepted. The beta testing session was held at Horizon's headquarters. I wore glasses I didn't need and a baseball cap pulled low. 20 of us sat in a conference room as Marcus himself presented the device. MediTrack represents years of my personal research, he said, his voice confident and smooth. After watching my own grandfather struggle with medication management, I knew there had to be a better way. My blood boiled. He'd rewritten the origin story to make himself the hero. His grandfather had died when we were in high school, from cancer, not medication errors. After the presentation, we each received a prototype to test. I took mine home and immediately began to disassemble it. I needed proof, something, anything that would show this was my design. Inside, I found it. A small flaw in the circuit board design, one I'd deliberately included in my prototype as a sort of signature. It was a redundant pathway that served no functional purpose, but formed my initials DR if you knew where to look. I photographed everything and reassembled the device. It wasn't enough for a legal case, but it was enough for me to know with absolute certainty. Marcus hadn't just been inspired by my idea. He had directly copied my prototype. The night before the launch event, I sat in my apartment staring at the invitation. 500 industry leaders would be there. Investors, media, everyone who mattered in the healthcare technology sector. My phone rang. It was my mother. Danny, are you coming for dinner Sunday? You've been so distant lately. I hadn't told her about the theft, about how my dream had been stolen. I've been busy, Mom. With your medication reminder, the one you were making for me? Something like that. My voice cracked. I'm proud of you, for using what happened to me to help others. That conversation changed something in me. This wasn't just about my career or success. MedMinder had been born from a place of love and concern. Marcus had stolen more than an idea. He'd stolen the purpose behind it. I made my decision. I would attend the launch, but not as a spectator. The day of the event arrived. The convention center was decorated with Horizon Tech's blue and silver colors. MediTrack, the future of medication management banners hung everywhere. I wore a suit, something I rarely did, and carried a small bag. Security was tight, but focused on preventing recording devices, not on screening attendees against some list. I slipped in with the crowd, my invitation barely glanced at. The first hour was excruciating, listening to various Horizon executives talk about their commitment to innovation. Then Marcus took the stage to thunderous applause. Today marks the culmination of my life's work, he began. MediTrack isn't just a product, it's a personal mission. He launched into the story again, his fictional inspiration, his years of dedicated research. The audience was captivated. I felt physically ill. And now, I'd like to demonstrate how MediTrack works, Marcus announced. That was my cue. I moved toward the stage, heart pounding in my chest. We've developed a proprietary algorithm that learns from user behavior, Marcus continued, holding up the sleek device. No other system on the market can predict and prevent medication errors with this level of accuracy. I reached the stage steps. A security guard looked at me questioningly. I'm the technical demonstration, I whispered, showing him a fake badge I'd created. He nodded and stepped aside. Marcus saw me approaching from the corner of his eye but didn't immediately recognize me. And to demonstrate the user interface, I grabbed the microphone from its stand at the side of the stage. You stole my life, I shouted, my voice echoing through the packed auditorium. The room fell silent. Marcus finally recognized me, his professional smile faltering. This man, I continued, pointing at Marcus, is presenting my invention as his own. Meditrack is a stolen idea copied directly from my design called MedMinder. Marcus recovered quickly. Security, please remove this person. He's clearly disturbed. But I wasn't finished. From my bag, I pulled out my notebook and the disassembled prototype. I designed this system for my mother after her stroke, I said, my voice steadier now. 2 months ago, I showed Marcus Chen my complete designs, seeking his advice as a friend. 3 weeks later, Horizon Tech filed a patent for an identical system. The audience murmured. Phones were raised, recording the unfolding drama. And here's the proof, I continued, holding up the circuit board. My signature is literally embedded in the design. My initials, DR, Daniel Reynolds, are built into the circuit as a hidden watermark. I projected a magnified image of the circuit board onto the screen behind Marcus, highlighting the distinctive pattern that formed my initials. Every prototype in this building carries my signature, I said, because they didn't just steal my idea, they copied my exact prototype. Marcus lunged for the microphone. This is ridiculous! Security! 2 guards started toward me, but a woman in the front row stood up. Wait, she called out. I'd like to hear more about this signature in the circuit board, son. I recognized her immediately. Dr. Elaine Winters, editor of MedTech Review and one of the most respected voices in healthcare technology. It's a redundant pathway, I explained, pointing to the projection. It serves no functional purpose in the device. I included it as a signature in my original prototype, the one I showed Marcus Chen before he filed his patent. The security guards hesitated, looking to Marcus for direction. His face had gone from confident to panicked. This is a disgruntled former employee, Marcus attempted, but his voice wavered. He's trying to sabotage our launch. I've never worked for Horizon Tech, I countered. I'm a software engineer at MedSoft Systems. Marcus and I have been friends since childhood, or so I thought. From my bag, I pulled out one final piece of evidence, a thumb drive. On this drive is every iteration of my MedMinder design, along with dated photographs of my prototype development. I've kept a detailed log of my work for the past 2 years. I hadn't shown Marcus everything during our pub meeting. I'd kept my full development history private, my one stroke of luck in this nightmare. Dr. Winters spoke again. Mr. Chen, would you care to address these specific allegations, particularly the signature in the circuit board? The room was utterly silent now. 500 people waited for Marcus's response. He adjusted his tie, buying time. There's a simple explanation, but there wasn't, and he knew it. I think we should examine this evidence, Dr. Winters said, standing up. If what Mr. Reynolds is saying is true, this is a serious ethical breach. Other voices joined in. The crowd's mood was shifting. Marcus made one last desperate attempt. Daniel and I discussed collaborating. This is just a misunderstanding about credit. A misunderstanding? I cut in. You ghosted me for weeks after seeing my designs. You filed a patent without my knowledge. You rewrote the origin story to erase me completely. I turned to address the audience directly. I didn't come here seeking revenge. I came for recognition. MedMinder, or Meditrack, whatever you want to call it, was born from my experience watching my mother struggle after her stroke. It's a solution created from love, not profit motive. The room had transformed. Journalists were frantically taking notes. Investors were whispering to each other. And Marcus stood frozen, his career imploding in real time. Dr. Winters approached the stage. Mr. Reynolds, I'd like to see your full documentation. And Mr. Chen, I believe you owe everyone here an explanation. What followed was surreal. The launch event dissolved into chaos. Investors pulled Horizon Tech representatives aside for urgent conversations. Journalists surrounded me, asking for my story. And Marcus, the friend I trusted since kindergarten, was escorted off stage by his own security team. 3 hours later, I sat in a conference room at the convention center with Dr. Winters and 5 major healthcare technology investors who had been backing Horizon Tech's launch. The evidence is compelling, one investor said after reviewing my documentation. The timestamps on your development photos predating their patent filing, the distinctive circuit signature, it's clear who created this technology. Dr. Winters nodded. Mr. Reynolds, Would you be open to discussing how to properly bring this technology to market with appropriate recognition and compensation? I was stunned. That's that's all I ever wanted. By evening, Horizon Tech had issued a statement postponing the Meditrack launch pending an internal investigation. Marcus hadn't made any public statement, but his career was effectively over. No one in the industry would trust him again. 2 months later, I stood on a different stage. Behind me was a banner reading MedMinder, Medication Management Reimagined. The same investors who had backed Horizon Tech were now backing me. Dr. Winters had personally vouched for my integrity and helped broker the deals. MedMinder began as a personal project, I told the audience. A son's attempt to help his mother after a stroke. Today, it becomes a solution for millions facing similar challenges. My mother sat in the front row, tears in her eyes, as I demonstrated the device that would help people like her maintain their independence and health. As for Marcus, I heard he left the country. Some said Singapore, others said he'd gone back to Taiwan where his parents were from. The lawsuit against him was still pending, but I wasn't focused on that anymore. The last communication I received from him was a simple text message. I'm sorry. I got lost in who I thought I needed to be. I never responded. Some betrayals cut too deep for words. That day at Horizon Tech's failed launch changed everything for me. I went from an unknown software engineer to the founder of a promising healthcare technology company. The journey wasn't what I'd expected, but the destination, helping people like my mother, remained the same. Sometimes I think about that moment on stage when I shouted, "You stole my life!" It wasn't just about the invention, it was about the purpose behind it, the desire to make a difference. That was what Marcus had truly stolen, and what I reclaimed that day. My mother uses the first production model of MedMinder. Every time it reminds her to take her medication, every time it helps her maintain her independence, I'm reminded of why I created it in the first place. Some ideas are born from love, and those are the ones worth fighting for.